Hey everyone, it's Dr. H, your friendly war game guy at the Air Command and Staff College. I'm here to give you a quick look at the sequence of play. Um, this is the order in which everything happens. I know in where everything happens simultaneously. For the purposes of a war game, we have to have it in a sequence so that we're not trying to do 15 things at the same time. Um, so this is an overview of the sequence of play. We're going to go into depth, very deep depth, about all of what happens in these sequences, but it's fairly simple in the sense of had the sequence of play available, know what phase you're in, understand what happens in each phase, and if you're executing a particular phase, follow the sequence, right? It's laid out in a particular order to help you produce the results that'll fit. Like I said, this is a quick overview. We're not going to spend a lot of time going in depth on every particular part of the sequence of play right now. Right? There'll be different videos later that will go over the sequence of play and pieces of it in depth. So the sequence of play, we have weather and initiative phase. Remember that this game is designed to be played by two guys in a basement over a weekend. We have a white cell that's going to tell you what the weather is, and we're going to tell you who has initiative. So don't worry about that. We're going to have that already taken care of as part of setting you up. So really your day is going to start with the electronic warfare phase. During the electronic warfare phase is when we conduct cyber operations. So there are rules for cyber operations. We conduct them first things off. Then we also do electronic detection. Right, each site's going to have electronic detection points and a chance to use those to try to detect each other. Electronic detection covers a wide variety of assets that aren't portrayed in the game. So it says electronic detection, it could mean any number of things. Then, if it is an initiative turn, that is, if somebody has the initiative on the land that allows them to do this, we will then step into the first Special Operations Forces phase. If nobody has that kind of initiative, we're going to skip this. So, some of these say initiative only. That's only if somebody has the initiative in that domain. So, if somebody has the initiative on the land side, they'll be able to conduct special operations in the first Special Operations Forces phase, and then we move into the air-naval phase. During the air-naval phase, we're going to take a look at what we have. We're going to set up and determine who has air superiority during the air superiority step. We're going to make some adjustments based on who has air superiority. Then we will execute the naval side of the phase, where we determine who has control of the sea, of different sea areas, and also whether certain naval units are detected. And then we can check for mine clearance. Come back up here, second special operations phase. So anybody can participate in this phase. The side that has initiative can participate in this phase, and the side that doesn't have initiative. So unlike the first initiative, special operations forces phase, only initiative player, only the initiative side can do that. In this case, anybody can participate in this. Note, if nobody has initiative that would allow them to go in this first special phase, everybody goes in the second phase. So after the first Special Operations Forces phase, we have a strike phase. We have the first strike phase. During the first strike phase, we conduct various strikes using all kinds of assets: missiles, airplanes, helicopters, artillery. There's a lot of strikes that happen. So we resolve them in the first strike phase, and then we have the first supply phase. Not on game turn 1. We don't have to worry about somebody being on supply already before anything happens. But after game turn 1, as we go into game turn 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 50 million, however far you get, right, then we're going to see if people are in supply, right, after we have conducted strikes. You may be in supply all the way at the start of the electronic detection, and then a supply depot gets blown up, and maybe you're not in supply anymore. And then we move into initiative, movement, and combat. The initiative, movement, and combat phase. During the initiative, combat, and movement phase, which only happens on initiative turns, the side with initiative gets to move. They get to conduct combat. Then the side without initiative, who has their elite units, we'll talk about what that means when the time comes, they get to go. And then the side with initiative gets to go again, and then conduct combat at a penalty. And then the side without initiative gets to move. So that happens all during an initiative turn. After if we're on an initiative turn, after the initiative, movement, and combat phase, we have a strike phase. We have another strike phase. Note, if nobody has initiative in the air or with strikes, we've already had it, right? We're just going to skip this phase. But if somebody has the initiative there, we can have more strikes. During the second supply phase, again, during somebody has initiative on the ground, we'll check for supply again, right? Before we go into the basic movement and combat phase. We'll always do a basic movement and combat phase. The first side, which will be designated by the scenario, goes, and then the second side goes. Or the side with initiative goes, and the side without initiative goes. And they can move and they can conduct combat, right? Don't worry, we'll talk about what that all means later. Right now, what you need to know, what you really kind of need to know is that, so if it's an initiative turn, initiative goes, elite reaction, initiative goes again, side without initiative goes, strike phase, supply phase, and then side with initiative goes, side without initiative goes. There's a lot of ground combat possible in these phases, and that's intentional. Remember, 3 days of high intensive ground operations, a lot can happen. Then we'll come to the isolation and surrender phase. This is different than being in supply. We'll talk about it more when the time comes. But units that are isolated need to be marked, and units that are isolated that continue to be isolated surrender. In the reorganization phase, this is some bookkeeping in a lot of ways. We're going to reset for the next turn. We're going to get ready for the next turn. During the reinforcement and replacement phase, we get new units or rebuild units that have been damaged. And then you'll see that we have a victory determination phase, which we're not going to do. We're not worried about victory points. The victory determination phase, everything that you determine as part of the victory determination phase is actually going to be determined by the white cell. So that's not going to be part of your game. There's the game record phase. It's now another turn. So these are the steps you run through. This is the sequence of play that you will do in the order in which you do things. This is just designed as an overview. This is just an introduction to the sequence of play to help you understand what it is we're trying to get done here. So knowing where you are in the sequence of play and then following the sequence of play, if you're trying to execute it, is vital to getting the game done. Good news, it's printed everywhere, and it's available. This is a PDF, so it's available all over the place too. So this has been an overview of the sequence of play. Hopefully this has been helpful. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, and I will see you in the next video.